Live here, 8:13 p.m., March 24th. This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com. Daily wrestling news update. I guess the biggest wrestling news of the day is that Dave Meltzer's reporting Dana Brooke and Rey Mysterio are currently in quarantine and they are not going to be on the WrestleMania 36 card. They're not saying exactly why they are quarantined, but with everything that's going on, that's definitely has to put up some red flags. Someone said a comment yesterday. I had mentioned that the Hulk Hogan lawsuit was settled related to people releasing his sex tape, and he was, I guess, having sex with one of his then close friends' wife, Bubba the Love Sponge, who was in the house and in the room before they started having sex. And somebody reminded me that the Warrior had done a video before he passed away, and I think it's still up there on YouTube, saying that Hulk Hogan and Linda had reportedly, according to the Warrior, been swingers. So having sex with your friend's wife, maybe that there was some truth to that, because that's not a usual thing. I'm not saying it's wrong. Now, there is some news earlier from yesterday. I did report that Ricky Morton had a Bell's palsy attack. Some people said, no, I was wrong, and it was Robert Gibson. But I have double-checked on this. It was Ricky Morton, and he actually put out a statement about this. He said, and I quote, "Last Tuesday, I woke up and got ready to go to the gym, went downstairs and had a cup of coffee. I noticed the coffee was running out of my mouth. It really scared me. I ran to the bathroom and I saw that my face looked disfigured," according to Morton. He said they told him it was brought on by stress and everything, and he has a touch of Bell's palsy. So I'm sorry to hear that. I hope to interview you soon, and I hope everything's going to be okay. I really like the Rock and Roll Express, and I do like Ricky Morton. I have not kept it a secret on here at all that I think Drew McIntyre sucks. And he made a statement to Sports Talk Radio that really makes me think I don't know what happened with him and Ambrose and their situation. He's someone that I had friends with and had so many great matches with, so I don't know what happened there. But in my experience, Brock has gone above and beyond to ensure that I look as good as I can possibly look. So why the fuck would I want to see you wrestle him, you fucking idiot? Like, what happened to the good days of wrestling, or how they build up MMA fighting and boxing where there's supposed to be heat? Why do I want to watch WrestleMania when Drew McIntyre is saying here on record that Brock Lesnar has done everything in his power to make him look as good as possible? This guy fucking sucks. I'm so sorry. Dana White has confirmed that the Tyrone Woodley versus Leon Edwards and other UFC fights that have been affected by the health situation that's canceling everything are going to be rescheduled. For the people saying that Vince Russo, who I did an interview with yesterday, is the worst writer in wrestling history, and making himself champion was a bad move, making David Arquette was a bad move, I certainly don't agree with those moves. But does everyone forget that at the Orlando WrestleMania a few years ago, WWE put the tag team championships on a fourth grader? I am not kidding. That actually happened. This is why wrestling sucks these days. And the lowest ever Nitro rating was a 1.7. Raw now gets about a 0.7. SmackDown on Fox gets about a 0.7. So keep in mind also, yes, Russo has made some mistakes. I certainly don't think he's the greatest booker ever, but he's good in some ways. He was with TNA when they had their highest ratings, and also he was the head writer during the majority of the Attitude Era. So you can't just say that he has no talent because he's constantly defamed by people like Jim Cornette and Eric Bischoff. As I said, I'm not his biggest fan, but the more I've met him, the more interviews I've done with him, the more I've heard other respectable people in the business, such as The Rock, Austin, and Chris Jericho, talk positively about him. And all three of those guys worked with him. It makes me have to say there is some merit there, that he wasn't that bad of a writer, despite some bad mistakes that he made. And finally, before I get into some of your fan questions, Brutus the Barber Beefcake said on Twitter to me at Devon Hannibal that he did not have sex with Sonny, but he did have sex with Missy Hyatt. I had reported that when I was using both Sonny and Brutus Beefcake on a Great North Wrestling, I think it was a 2-day tour, and then they were wrestling in Toronto on the third day, Brutus told me on that tour that when he was in his younger days, or when Sonny was in her a little bit younger, he had sex with her. He is now denying that. So I'm not saying that they had sex. Maybe Brutus lied to me when he told me that, but he is now saying he did not have sex with Sonny. So I'll stand corrected on that. But he did tell me that. I wouldn't just make stuff up. If someone tells me something that they had sex with someone, I'll have to take them for their word at that. So that's it. But I do believe him if he's now saying he didn't have sex with her, that he probably didn't, because he did tell me that person to person, and then I brought it up. He didn't tell me that on record. I'm the one that put it out on record that he told me that. So I can understand why he's saying something else. So I'm just setting the record straight on that. And I am at Devon Hannibal and the Hannibal TV on Twitter. We do have an Instagram at the Hannibal TV. I'll answer some of your questions now. Oh yeah, by the way, also for terrible wrestling writers, you got to throw Stephanie McMahon in there, and Dana Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior's wife, is also on the writing team. They also have like very young kids on the writing team. The wrestling content in recent years has been absolute crap. It's worse now than it's ever been, at least in WWE, in my opinion. So far, far worse than in the Attitude Era. Kiki Martinez says wrestling is dead. The product is not entertaining. Vance Albright, Savannah, Georgia in the house. Oh, by the way, I'm also doing, if anyone knows who Rick Bassman is, he helped break John Cena in The Ultimate Warrior, Hayden Wright, numerous big stars. I am doing a Skype interview with Rick Bassman tomorrow if anyone has any questions, and another one with Jeannie Clark, Steve Austin's ex, later this week, and I'm still searching for more and more Skype interviews. Luke Webb 96 says Mike Tyson in Austin was the shit. Hello, Hannibal from Calgary, my old stomping grounds. They definitely banged Hogan's wife together, Mike West said. Judy Bagwell on a forklift was hilarious, Mike West also says. Mike West, but calling himself a writer and then not being able to spell is kind of ridiculous. I don't know. Everyone makes spelling mistakes. Ralph Vaquero, guess Brutus just isn't proud of it. As I said, who knows? He told me that personally. I've had a lot of people in my life tell me they fucked somebody that haven't. Won't be the last. So if I ever interview Sonny, I'll ask her for the down low on it. Wrestling is awful now compared to what it was in the 90s. I just watched the interviews. Someone says, what you don't like when McMahons go over on talent. Mr. Lenny back. I saw Brutus and Jake the Snake in Calgary for the CWE promotion. that we've released some footage of here on this channel of the CWE promotion as well. A mess says, first time writing in, would you interview Barry Horowitz? Yes, I would. What's my opinion of Orange Cassidy and MJF? Orange Cassidy, I don't personally get the gimmick. There's people that like it. If he's making money with it, good for him. I mean, I can't hassle people if they're making money with a gimmick. He's got a job in AEW. I don't, so maybe that's more popular these days. But also, I'm doing pretty well for myself on here. Joe Beck, Skype with Buff Bagwell. Does he have Skype? Maybe I'll ask him about that. That's actually a good idea, Joe Beck. My opinion of MJF, I honestly haven't seen much of him. I think the hoopla over him giving someone the finger a few weeks ago, I can't even believe that made the news. A wrestler gives a fan a finger, and that's the news. That must have been a slow news day. Just like it was actually all over the news, maybe last week or the week before, John Cena watched the 205 live taping. Wow, how is that news? Who the fuck cares? Ultimate Warrior says Triple H is going to wrestle on NXT TakeOver, probably is the news tomorrow. I don't think they're doing NXT TakeOver. They're doing the matches that were supposed to happen in NXT TakeOver on the NXT TV show over a spread out period of time. I think either starting this week or next week. A mess says he doesn't like Orange Cassidy. I'll be honest, I would not want to watch any more of his matches because the little bit I saw of it, I don't like as a real wrestler and as like a guy that was trained in the dungeon or as a wrestling fan. But obviously, there's wrestling fans today, the fans that are left, most of them, like me, watch MMA now instead. But the ones that are left like some of this stuff that I would just call stupid comedy wrestling. Thank you, Hannibal, for the updates. Do I think Roddy Piper was molested by Pat Patterson? Puerto Rico hombre says, I don't know. I never met Pat. I did meet Pat Patterson, actually, but I never met Roddy Piper. I met Pat Patterson, actually, on 2 occasions. Once was at the WWE tryout I was hired for, and he actually gave me the finish to my tryout match. And he was, I know for a fact, everybody told me, including him himself, he was one of the people that wanted to get me hired. But then I met him again about 10 years later, and he had no recollection of me. And I don't hold that against him because Steve Kern had no recollection of me either when I met him 10 years later. And he also not only agented one of my WWE matches, but also was one of the proponents of me getting hired. MMA is the new pro wrestling. In a way, yes. Their promos are better. The characters, a lot of the characters are better. Jacob M. Am I watching Dark Side of the Ring? Dark Side of the Ring are a bunch of fucking assholes. What they did to Kevin Sullivan, slandering him, is a load of bullshit. And I said it yesterday, say it again today. I hope he sues the fuck out of them. They are fucking pieces of shit. And I'll end it at that.